Have you ever looked at a piece of wood and seen a story waiting to be told? Not just a board or a branch, but a hidden shape, a sleeping creature, a moment of wild grace locked in the grain. What if you could set that story free? And what if, in doing so, you could build a life, not just a living, filled with purpose, beauty, and tangible creation? This is the journey of the wood artisan. It's a path from that first spark of curiosity to a flourishing craft. It's about more than making art. It's about discovering a different way to move through the world, with your hands as your guides and the soul of the wood as your partner. Let's explore how a simple cut can carve out a new reality. They say the first cut is always the deepest, not in the wood, but in you. Just ask Emma. She stood in a cloud of sawdust in her garage, the scent of pine and possibility thick in the air. An accountant by trade, her hands were tired of spreadsheets. They yearned for grain and texture. So she started with a simple gift, an oak fox, its shape emerging hesitantly under her jigsaw. She posted a picture online almost as an afterthought, and the single comment that came back, "How much?" was like the click of a lock turning. A door she never knew was there, swung wide open. This is the story of turning beauty into a livelihood. It's not a rush, it's a patient carving of a life, where money becomes a quiet byproduct of meaning. And it all starts before you even lift a tool. It begins by learning to read the wood, to see the somber dignity of a bear in the deep, chocolate ripples of walnut, to find a mystical owl waiting in the black lightning veins of spalted maple. You don't force the animal onto the wood, you collaborate with it. You sand and shape until the creature you both imagined is set free. That reverence, that conversation with the grain, is where your art's soul lives, and that's where its true value begins. Then comes the ritual of creation, transferring a design, sometimes sketched by hand. The meditative buzz of the scroll saw, its thin blade dancing to define a deer's graceful neck. The careful work of gouges and chisels adding dimension, hinting at muscle and feather. But the real magic, it's in the finish. The hours of sanding, moving through grits until the wood feels like silk. Then, applying warmed oil by hand, watching it sink in and deepen the color until the figure seems to glow from within. This transformation is your alchemy. With a small herd of creatures born from your hands, you build your ark, and the digital marketplace becomes your savanna. You learn to speak the language of light, photographing your pieces against rustic slate, telling their story. Majestic barn owl, carved from reclaimed barn pine. Because you're not just selling a product, you're offering a captured moment of wild grace. You'll start on platforms like Etsy. Each sale is a tiny thrill, a validation. You'll package with care, tucking in a handwritten note about the wood's origin. And the reviews will start to whisper. It feels alive. As your confidence grows, so will your craft. You might invest in a pyrography pen to etch delicate feathers or experiment with inlays for eyes. You'll take commissions, a beloved family dog in cherrywood, a client's spirit animal in ash. And you'll learn that the art is only half the story. The other half is the narrative. So you'll share glimpses, a time-lapse of a wolf emerging from the block, the satisfying curl of a wood shaving. People don't just buy the owl. They buy the story of the reclaimed barn, the focused hours, the sawdust in your hair. The money will begin as a trickle, then a steady stream. A local boutique might want your songbirds. An office could commission a large-scale heron. You'll find your rhythm, creating smaller bread and butter pieces, like keychains or ornaments, that provide reliable flow while you work on those larger, show-stopping commissions. Eventually, your garage workshop becomes a dedicated studio, humming with creation. You might build your own website, a clean gallery of your work. You might even teach, guiding others to find their own animal in the grain. And one day, you'll realize the true profit is measured in more than currency. It's in the morning light flooding your studio instead of a cubicle. It's the tangible weight of a finished piece in your palm. It's the message from a customer saying the cardinal you carved now sits on her grandfather's old desk, a bridge between memory and the present. Making money from this art is a practice of patience. It's the marriage of craft and commerce, where your sensitivity to a wood's spirit meets a world hungry for authenticity. You are not mass-producing. You are whispering to the grain, asking it what it wants to be, and listening carefully to the answer. And in that sacred dialogue, you will find more than an income. You will find a life, one shaped by your own hands, rich with purpose, and beautifully, uniquely yours. Picture this, a storm-felled oak branch in a backyard. To anyone else, just firewood. But to Leo, who was a barista, not a woodworker, the twisted grain whispered of something else, the coiled power of a panther. With a borrowed saw and sheer curiosity, he spent a weekend coaxing that big cat out of the wood. The feeling was primal. It wasn't decoration, it was revelation. He shared it online, and a stranger from Colorado saw it. She didn't just like it. She asked to buy a pair as bookends and named a price that made his hands shake. That was the moment. The seed was planted. Now the romance of hand carving is real, but the economics of time are ruthless. So you begin a dance between soul and efficiency. You start with the essentials, a trusty scroll saw for those intricate silhouettes of wolves or eagles, a set of carving tools for depth, and a sander, your best friend for that soul-satisfying, silky finish. Then, as early sales come in, you eye the game changers. Maybe a laser engraver to add impossible feather details, or a CNC router to handle the rough shaping, freeing you to focus on the artistry where it truly counts. Every tool becomes an investment, not in stuff, but in your own time, reducing hours per piece and amplifying the wow factor. And that's where your signature style is born. Maybe you become a silhouette specialist, mastering elegant profiles where dark walnut rests against pale maple. These pieces build your inventory. Or perhaps you dive deeper, becoming a dimensional carver, where wood becomes flesh. You study anatomy, the tension in a horse's shoulder, the fluff of a squirrel's tail, using pyrography like a paintbrush to create gradients of fur and deep, glassy eyes. A single piece like this becomes your flagship. And for some, the call is to become a narrative artist, telling stories. A family of raccoons from different woods, nestled in a burl oak tree, with a touch of turquoise resin in a raven's wing. These are your masterworks, born from bespoke commissions. But your workshop is a sanctuary, and commerce lives in the digital jungle. You learn to be a dual citizen. First, you build your gallery on Etsy or your own website, where every listing is a story, a captured moment of wild grace. Then you step into the theater of social media, sharing the process. The satisfying sanding, the transformation from a blank block to an owl, the sawdust-covered failures. This isn't just marketing, it's building a tribe. And finally, you go on the hunt, pursuing commissions from interior designers, pitching boutique hotels, offering custom pet memorials. A single right commission can fund your studio for months. Now let's talk about the flow of it all, because the money here isn't a lump sum, it's an ecosystem. Think of it like a river system. You have the steady brook, your small, quick-turn items like keychains and ornaments. Reliable cash flow. Then the main river, your core collection of signed, mid-sized pieces, the detailed songbirds, the elegant running horses. This is the heart of your business. Occasionally, you'll have a lake, those deep, still waters of a major commission or a gallery installation. A 4- or 5-figure project that elevates everything. And don't forget the tributaries. Selling digital plans, teaching a weekend workshop, licensing a design. These smaller streams all feed the main river, diversifying your reach. In the end, the true harvest is measured in more than a bank statement, though paying a mortgage with money made from a murmuration of mahogany starlings is a profound joy. It's in the calloused hands that know wood by touch. It's in the quiet dawn studio, with only the shush-shush of sandpaper on grain. It's in the message from a client saying the wolf you carved now watches over their child's room, a talisman of strength. You see, you're not just making art. You're an archivist of nature, translating the story of a tree into the story of a creature. You're offering tangible connection in a disposable world. And in that space, where passion meets precision and creativity meets commerce, you build a life that is, itself, a beautiful piece of work, solid, grained with experience, and uniquely yours. The money follows. It has to. Because what you're offering isn't a commodity. It's a captured piece of wild soul, and that is priceless. And so it grows. From a single question, how much, to a life's work. From a cloud of sawdust in a garage to a studio humming with purpose. This path isn't about fast money. It's about slow, deliberate creation. It's built on the patience to listen to the wood, the skill to set its inner creature free, and the courage to share that piece of wild soul with the world. The reward is a life measured not just in dollars, but in the weight of finished work in your hands, the quiet focus of the workshop dawn, and the profound connection your art forges between nature, your heart, and a home somewhere out in the world. Your journey begins with a look, a piece of wood, and a single courageous cut. What will you uncover?